This is lesson 5.1, combining like terms. We have some notes for this lesson, and I just have them up in the box at the top of the screen. You might want to write these down. Combining like terms means to add the coefficients, those are the numbers, in front of the terms that have the same variable exponents using the rules of adding integers. So what I mean by that, terms are separated by plus and minus signs. In example number 1 on your guided practice, we have negative 4n plus 7 plus n minus 10. Let's first look and find all of our terms. Everywhere you see a plus or a minus sign, it indicates a new term. Now, the first term in an expression may not have a sign in it. If you don't see a sign on a number or in front of a number, you know that it's positive. So let's count our terms. How many do we have altogether? Highlight here. 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. When we say a term is alike, it means it has the same variables with the same exponents. Now we're going to be just looking at linear equations, so you won't have any exponents. Let's find all the variable terms that are alike. So what I mean by a variable term, it's a term that has a letter in it. So we have negative 4n and positive n. Those two terms are alike because they have the same variable, not necessarily the same coefficient, that number that's in front of it. The coefficient of that first term is negative 4. The coefficient of the third term that we circled is positive. I don't see a number in front of that n. What is it? It's that invisible 1. In algebra, we don't like to write the number 1. It's just implied that it's there. So those terms are alike, even though they have different coefficients. Now, it's important to also remember that constants are also like terms. Here we have constants are also like terms. When you're combining your like terms, you're supposed to combine your variable terms first and then your constants last. I'm going to go ahead and put squares around my constants, the positive 7 and the negative 10. So what we're going to do when we combine our like terms is first combine our variable terms, or my two circles. Negative 4n and positive 1n. When you're combining them, all you do is you use your rules of adding integers. Everybody remember what those are? Same signs add, opposite signs subtract, bigger sign wins. Of just the coefficients, the numbers in front. The variable is going to stay the same. So negative 4 and positive 1, are those same signs or opposite signs? They're opposite signs, so we have to subtract. 4 minus 1 is 3, but don't forget the bigger sign wins. 4 is bigger than 1 and it's negative, so it's a negative 3. Negative 3n, the variable stays the same. Now that we combine our variable terms, the next step is to combine our constants. The positive 7 and the negative 10. Those are again opposite signs, so we have to subtract. 10 minus 7 is 3. And because the 10 is bigger, it's negative, so it'd be negative 3. It's important that when you're combining your constants that you write the sign right here in between, even if it's positive. Don't just write, well, I can give you another example in just a minute here. Alright. So after you're done combining like terms, your final answer will often still contain a variable. We're not evaluating. Remember, evaluating expressions means that they give us the values of the variables. We're not given the values of the variables. So all we can do is combine them. Okay. Let's look at another problem. So problem number 2. Remember, first we need to combine our variable terms. I only see one variable term. It's that positive r. So I'm going to write down r. The first term in expression when you combine, if it's positive, you do not need to write the plus sign or the positive sign. But when you write any term after it, that you're combined, you do have to write the sign, regardless if it's positive or negative. So we start to combine our constants, the positive 8 and the positive 3. Well, 8 plus 3 is 11. And it's not just any 11, it's positive 11. You must write that sign right here in between. So our final answer is R plus 11. Be careful. I see many times some people will write this, R11. That does not mean the same thing. In fact, it looks really funny. Okay, so be careful that you don't do that. Let's look at another one. In question number 3, we have a negative 7n, that's one term, and a positive 7n, that's another term. Those are both variable terms. We don't have any constants in this problem, so we're not going to have a second term here. We're just going to have one term in our final answer. A negative 7n and a positive 7n, look at those coefficients. Negative 7 plus 7. What do we call those when the numbers are the same but they have opposite signs? It's an example of a zero pair. So they actually cancel each other out. Your final answer is just 0. There's no variable. You don't write 0n. It's just 0. Need another one? Alright, in problem number 4 you have 8 minus b plus 10b. In this expression we have two variable terms, the negative b and the positive 10b. Be careful that you remember to include the signs with your terms. The signs come before terms, not after them. So what you don't want to do, let me just show you real quick, because I sometimes see this. I see people do this. Okay? We don't want to do that. Signs come before numbers, not after them. So when you're combining like terms, you first combine your variable terms, the negative b and the positive 10b. Well, that negative b, what's the coefficient of that b? There should be a 1 there, so it's a negative 1. Negative 1 and positive 10 equals positive 9. Positive 9 what? B. Don't forget your variable when you combine variable terms. The term that we have left over is that 8. Don't do this. What's wrong with that? You don't have the sign. Remember to include the sign, the positive 8. There wasn't another term to combine it with, so you just copy it down as a positive 8, and that's your answer. Let's try another one. Alright, this will be the last one that I do with you. Then you'll need to complete the rest for practice, and I've given you the answers so you can self-check and correct. Problem number 5. First step is to combine your variable terms. Let's identify your variable terms, negative 6p and negative p. Notice that we do not have any constants in this expression, so our answer should only have one term in it when we're all done. Negative 6p and negative, that's a 1p. Negative and a negative. Don't say a negative times a negative. Don't say negative negative is a positive. Same signs, you have to add. 6 plus 1 is 7. And the bigger sign wins. They're both negative, so regardless it's going to be a negative p. So just one term is your final answer. Okay, go ahead and finish the rest of the 5.1 guided practice and then click the self-check and correct to make sure you're doing these correctly. Ask if you need any help or if you get an answer different than what's on the answer sheet. Remember to put your answers in standard form. What I mean by that is that you always write your variable term first and then your constant term after you combine them.